culturally do with our hair and wearing head wraps. This is going to show a lot of you stories that you haven't seen before, that you might have seen before as well, about what happens to African girls when they go on the school campuses and they want to express their African culture with different hairstyles, with African wraps, with African jewelry, things to express that they are proud to be Black, they are proud to be African girls. Uhuru. So now we're going to show a string of different videos around what happens to these young African girls who go into this colonial school system seeking an education, but instead getting abused through this colonial system for just being who they naturally are. Uhuru.
Do begin with that mother's fight with the school over her daughter's hair. Good evening, I'm Guard Swanson.
And I'm Lauren Rowe. Right now, school administrators say the girl's hair is a problem and it needs to be straightened or she'll get kicked out. But her mom doesn't understand how her hair looking like this is wrong and why it was not an issue until the honor student said that she was being bullied. The girl attends Faith Christian Academy on Curry Ford Road in Orlando. Sean Chiabat is there live. So Sean, what are administrators saying about why they're doing this?
You know, Lauren, I just got an email back from the school administrator. I asked him about the student handbook and this student's issue in particular. He did not answer any of my questions, but that student says she now has 1 week to make a decision. She either has to cut and shape her hair or leave this school. Like her love for violin, Vanessa Van Dyke's hair defines her personality.
It says that I'm unique.
But for this private school student, it comes with a cost.
First of all, it's puffy, and I like it that way, and I know people will tease me about it because it's not straight or anything. I don't fit in. With your head.
First came teasing from other students, but now she says school leaders demand she cut and shape her natural hair or get kicked out.
There have been bullies in the school. There have been people teasing her about her hair. And it seems to me that they're blaming her.
Faith Christian Academy has a dress code and rules against how students can wear their hair. The student handbook says hair must be a natural color and must not be a distraction.
A distraction to one person is not a distraction to another. You can have a kid come in with pimples on his face. You know, are you going to call that a distraction?
I'm depressed about leaving my friends and people that I've known for a while. I would rather have that than the principals and administrators picking on me and saying that I should change my hair.
I'm going to fight for my daughter. If she wants her hair like that, she will keep her hair like that.
Now, that student says that her hair has been like this all year long, but it only became an issue after the family complained that other students here were teasing her about her hair. Lauren.
Sean, does the student handbook describe what kind of hair would be a distraction?
Yeah, Lauren, it does. I read through it. It actually gives examples that include, but are not limited to, mohawks, shaved designs, and rat tails. But clearly, this is still very much up to the school's discretion. Lauren.
Okay, thanks very much, Sean.
She said, don't play with it no more, I'm gonna cut the wrist.
A Milwaukee public school teacher under fire after she cut a 7-year-old girl's hair off in class. Only on 12 News, why the little girl says her teacher got so upset and how MPS officials are responding. Good evening, I'm Kathy Michaelby.
And I'm Terry Sater. Toya has the night off. A Milwaukee teacher is charged with disorderly conduct after punishing a first grader by cutting her hair. In a story you'll see only on 12 News, Nick Bohr is here live with the little girl's story in her own words, Nick.
And Terry Lamaya Kamen is angry, confused, and scared by the incident last week in which the apparently frustrated teacher cut one of her hair braids off after she wouldn't stop playing with them in class. 7-year-old Lamaya Cameron sports a few dozen braids, but one is conspicuously absent.
She told me to stop playing with it and then cut it off and send me back to my desk.
Maya is a first grader at Congress Elementary and says her teacher used a classroom scissors to cut off one of the braids after she absentmindedly kept playing with them. Tell me how you play with your hair. Show me what that means.
I wasn't playing that loud. I was doing this.
She says the teacher called her to the front of the room and cut it in front of the whole class. What did you do?
I went to my desk and cried. And they was laughing. She threw it away. And she said, now what you gonna go home and tell your mama? And then I said, you cut off my hair.
Lamaya's mom was and is furious. She went to the school and confronted the teacher.
I said, well, you cut a lot of her hair off. And then she was like, well, I do apologize. She said, but I was frustrated.
The MPS district says they're going through the disciplinary process with the teacher, who remains in class, though Lamaya has been moved to a different classroom by the principal.
The main thing is, from the heart of the principal, and also from me speaking for the district, we're very sorry that this happened.
Lamaya's mom appreciates the apology, but says the district should seriously question whether the teacher should keep her job.
Why would we want someone like that teaching our kids? We trust our kids, and once they go to school, to be safe.
Milwaukee police investigated the case and referred it to the district attorney for possible physical or mental abuse of a child charges. When the district attorney's office decided not to file criminal charges, police this week issued the teacher a $175 ticket for disorderly conduct. Now, we tried to talk to the teacher today, but were unable to reach her.
Durham school board members plan to discuss revising the student dress code after about 25 parents demonstrated outside the school today. WNCN's Mario Boone has our story.
School for Creative Studies principal Renee Price came under fire Monday from about 24 protesters. Outraged after Price recently demanded several female students remove a cultural headdress known as a gele.
They're having to alter who they are in order to assimilate into society, and I don't feel like that's right.
So for 1 hour, the parents rallied outside the cafeteria with DPS permission in full view of the students inside.
Every day is Black History Month.
They were told that by it covering their entire head, it could be a situation where they may have had weapons.
Durham Public Schools does indeed ban students from wearing headdress, except for religious and medical reasons. In this case, school leaders said the girls failed to get permission before wearing the geles to school in recognition of Black History Month. The parents who showed up here at this protest told me it's bigger than the head wrap. In fact, they are demanding Durham Public Schools change its dress code.
The solution is for them to be able to, express themselves culturally.
Their message has already gone up the ladder to the superintendent, who issued this statement to WNCN saying the parents' concerns will be shared with the committee currently considering revisions to the Student Code of Conduct. In Durham, Mario Boone, WNCN News Now.
Kentucky is backpedaling after critics said its dress code unfairly targeted Black students. The policy was overturned at a school board meeting, but everyone isn't satisfied. It all started after State Representative Attica Scott tweeted a photo of a flyer given to her daughter that said distracting or attention-getting hairstyles like dreadlocks, cornrows, and twists would be outlawed. We're assuming they meant cornrows. Scott told the Courier-Journal, they specifically outlined hairstyles that are worn most by Black kids. To me, this stinks of institutional racism. Scott's photo got more than 1,000 retweets, and the American Civil Liberties Union of Kentucky said it would review the high school's policies. The remaining dress code is still strict, banning long or unnaturally colored hair. The meeting ended before anyone from the public could comment, sparking more controversy. Another meeting to discuss the remaining dress code is slated for August 4th. The Jefferson County Public Schools superintendent said it would provide guidance to our schools to ensure their policies are not obtrusive, do not conflict with board policy, and most importantly, do not infringe on the many cultures embraced across our school district. For Newsy, I'm Grant Sunison.
She was pulled out of school, not for fighting or smoking or even bringing a toy gun to class. It was her hair. School officials actually told the 7-year-old that she didn't look presentable. That broke her heart.
Because they didn't like my dreads. I think that they should let me have my dreads.
Now, here's the Deborah Brown Community School policy. It says, quote, hairstyles such as dreadlocks, afros, mohawks, and other faddish styles are unacceptable. Your first reaction?
Unbelievable.
Why?
Unbelievable.
Tell me why.
Because, Kara, if I should pick my hair right now, this is considered an afro because my hair in its natural state is curly. And are you telling me that I'm not presentable? I'm not able to come into an environment? I'm going to disrupt the class because my natural curl pattern has my hair shaped like an afro? That is ludicrous. Absolutely crazy.
For the record, you're a beautiful woman, and we love your tight afro.
Am I disrupting right now? Are you kidding me? That's crazy. And she's so beautiful.
I'm not sure if he's a single dad or not, but it was just him in the story. And that is by far the easiest, most practical hairstyle for a little girl that age. You know, my goddaughter's African-American, and so absolutely, there's so much, you know, I mean, the upkeep and time and expense. No way that this guy was doing anything but being a good dad.
Well, you're going to love this. He's a barber. And here's what he had to say.
It hurt my feelings to the core. Always presentable. You know, I take pride in my kids looking nice. She went to the school last year and didn't have any problem.
Is this discrimination?
I do believe in how it's applied. I mean, I think that whether it's legally actionable or not, probably not, unless they are only applying it to some kids and not all. Okay. You know, if they're not, if they're picking and choosing, then maybe. But it's practically a ridiculously dumb move on the part of the school. I mean, what's the point? What's the purpose?
I think what resonated with me and probably most people who are watching it the most is the fact that this poor little girl is in tears over this, and you can tell that she's feeling rejection. So, Dr. Sharp, I wanted to ask you, man, I have a 7-year-old, and I'm sitting here thinking, this isn't just rejection behind closed doors. This is a very public rejection in school with everybody. So, what does that do to a kid her age, again, 7 years old, and how do we help her? I feel like I want to do something.
It is damaging. I know, she's so sad, you know, and it's shameful is what she's been made to feel. You know, it's actually a shame that she's been made to feel shame, but that's what she's coming away with. And so what she needs is love and affirmation. You know, there is a good Raising America point here, though, which is that families really need to be clear with their children, you know, what's our standard, what's acceptable in the home, and then what is the school standard or the standard in church or wherever it is that you're going, because there has to be some way that these line up. And if not, you know, you can prepare in advance for this kind of thing. She didn't see it coming. The father should have, it seems to me, and she needs love and support and be told that she's all right.
Here's what surprised a lot of people. All the board members and the entire administration are Black. So, Jennifer, does that even make it more outrageous for you? And try to just, I mean, can we try and see the other side?
Okay, let me try to see the other side, because my children did go to private school. And we had very strict guidelines. My son, when he was 4, he had a ponytail. When he was 5, when he entered into school, I had to cut the ponytail. There were rules, there were regulations. I get it. They had to wear uniforms. They had to have certain policies in place. I think but my girls, on the other hand, having to do their hair, which is completely tied to their esteem, they have worn braids. They have worn cornrows. They have worn traditional styles that were more applicable, I think, toward African-American culture. Even though school policy was such that hair was included, they never said very specifically no cornrows, no braids, no dreads. They wanted a clean presentation, which I completely agree with.
Our good friend and blogger, Deneen Milner, you probably know her. She's got a fabulous blog. This is what she says, quote, Black natural hair haters is what they are. Clearly, some self-hating, ignorant, backwards-thinking numbskulls so stuck on stupid that they still actually think relaxing, weaving, or snatching a black child's hair into some kind of torturous submission will make them more acceptable. Our social accounts are lighting up, I'm told right now, and here's a few that we pulled. Alicia writes, so if my biracial child goes to school without her hair done, she has a fro and is violating a rule, but if my white child goes to school without her hair done, she looks unkept. Is that okay?
So the issue here is application, right? I mean, they gave the examples, and they probably should have been a little bit broader with their examples and not solely focused on African-American hair issues, but they're African-American leaders, maybe predominantly African-American students.
All right, we want you to weigh in. Keep weighing in, actually, and be the judge. Did the school enforce its dress code fairly? Reviewer verdict is in. You have ruled that this is completely unfair. Here's what Phyllis posted. If a child is distracted by a classmate having dreadlocks, maybe there's a deeper issue as to why your child is distracted. Doss weighs in saying, I think it's funny that so many people are upset over this. If the schools didn't have dress codes, can you just imagine what some of these kids would wear to school? And this one had you very fired up on social media accounts. People are also uploading photos of their kids' unique hairdos on our Facebook page. We love it. So keep tweeting me too at Kira HLN. Now there you go. Is that hair distracting? That's a pretty cool do. Yeah. Final thoughts on that, guys. Dr. Sharp?
Hey, Kira?
Yes.
Well, you know, the school could have handled it much better, right? They could have let it go for the day. They could have called the father in. They could have, in private, without shaming, educated the father. They didn't have to make such a spectacle and leave her high and dry and in tears. That's what gets me.
So yeah, that's what's happening to our young girls going to these colonial school systems. They're being abused because they want to be African. They want to be who they were born to be. They're showing that they love themselves. So here comes the school system, which we understand is the state. It's an arm of the state, and it moves like the state, and it attacks even our children. Now, the stories you saw were stories that were, you know, in different cities and different states, and I just want to say that now the story has hit here at home in Gibbs High School, that an African girl here wearing an African wrap in Gibbs High School, which is like 80–90% African, was approached by not just an administrator, but also what they call a resource officer. I have Liu here today to tell you this story, and also to tell you another story that I'd like her to say about her job as well, because the attack is everywhere. Uhuru.
Uhuru. As you can see, we're having some problems back here, but I just wanted to note before I even got started on what I wanted to say and, you know, what happened at my school, that, you know, a lot of people get confused when they see Africans telling another African to, you know, take your head wrap off and, you know, do these things. And they think that, you know, because you're African that you wouldn't do these things, but that's neocolonialism. And if you don't know what neocolonialism looks like, basically white power and blackface. So, you know, the colonizer can send his favorite coons out here to enforce his power. So, you know, you might be more likely to do what it is that the colonizer wants you to do, but it's still the same massa just behind a black face. So that's what that contradiction is. So I think it was Thursday. A few days ago on Thursday, my friend Jelani was at school and she wore her head wrap, and, you know, she was just walking down the hallway going to class, and an administrator, an African woman, came and told her, hey, come here. And so she came here, like she came to the woman, and the woman also had an African police officer next to her, and the police officer was also an African woman. So, you know, she told her, you know, basically, you need to take this head wrap off. You're going against dress code. This is unacceptable. And when she's telling her this, you know, the African police officer is standing next to her looking like, you know, what are you going to do? And, you know, they call the officers on our campus resource officers, but they're no different than the police officers you see driving in our communities. They're armed just like them. They look just like them. And, you know, same uniform, same everything. The only reason they call them a resource officer is to, you know, harshen the blow of saying that we have a occupying military force on your campus ready to terrorize African kids. That's the only difference. So, you know, she told her this, and then, you know, Jelani looks at her and then looks over to this police officer, you know, with their gun, taser, and everything on their belt, and, you know, weighs out her options. And she did take her head wrap off. She went in the bathroom and took her head wrap off, but she was completely demoralized because, you know, she felt like she had no power on her campus. And we don't, like, African kids don't have any power on our campus. When you try to tell us to do something and then have an officer, the same police officers on our campus who at our school, you know, sick dogs on us, have surprise raids where they raid us for drugs, you know, send dogs all in our stuff. They check to see if we have drugs. The same police officers on our campuses that slam middle schoolers on the ground, break our arms, you know, do all kind of things to students, you know, slam them, throw them out of their desks just for having cell phones. And the same police officers that take our lives. And, you know, that's who you call by your side to tell somebody to take a head wrap off. So, you know, she was clearly intimidated and she went and took her head wrap off. So after that, she called the movement, and she called Comrade Ghazi to ask what she should do. And, you know, he told her, put your head wrap back on. You know, they can't tell you to take your head wrap off. They can't tell you how you should express your own culture. So she put it back on, and she was approached by the African woman, the African police officer, but then this time they had a white administrator with them. And the white administrator has a little more power than they do. And so she was telling her basically, you know, we're not going to tell you again, you need to take your head wrap off, or, you know, it's going to be some consequences behind this. And she told her, well, what are the consequences? Y'all just going to have to give me a consequence, because y'all wouldn't tell, you know, a young Muslim girl or somebody else to take off their head wrap. Like, you wouldn't tell this to another person if I wasn't an African. And so then the white woman goes, well, if you want to take it that far, I guess you'll just have to come here every day in your head wrap if you want to keep it on. And you can't tell me, and you can't tell, you know, African student when or how we're going to wear our culture, like how we get to express our own culture that you tried to strip away in the first place. You don't get to tell us that. You don't get to deem when we get to come to school, you know, expressing our culture. You don't get that right. So the next day, she, you know, to have more support on campus, she came with her head wrap on again, but this time I came with my head wrap on as well. Because we understand in the movement, if you touch one, you touch all. So, you know, she doesn't stand alone on that campus, especially when you have another African, you know, girl there who understands the circumstance around her, and you have plenty of other African girls on that campus. You're not alone. So I came the next day in my head wrap, and the same administrator that told her to take her head wrap off saw me walking to lunch, and it was funny because she saw me from, like, she walked past me and she was looking at me real hard, and then she walked past me, and then I turned around and she looked back at me and she thought I was Jelani. And so she was like, you know, what did I tell you yesterday? You know, what organization are you a part of? Really just coming at me, trying to harass me. And I was like, you know, taken aback that she's just so nasty, and I hadn't even opened my mouth and said anything to her yet. And so I was like, you know, that wasn't me, but I know who you're talking about, and we are part of the Uhuru movement. So she was mad. She was real upset, and she was just like, well, you know, just because you're a different person, the rules don't change. You need to take that off. And I was like, no, not today, Satan. Don't talk to me. And so I just continued to walk to lunch. But we both, you know, I met up with Jelani, and both of us, you know, stood there strong with both of our head wraps on. And she was more hesitant about coming to us and telling us to take our head wrap off, because she's seeing that, you know, she's not just attacking one girl by herself. This girl has a movement behind her. And this girl maybe I should rethink, what I'm about to do. Yeah, so that's what happened when the two of us came to our campus with our head wraps on. And it just shows you, just by one person, the power you have, the power African people have when we come together. So that's not the only thing we're doing, though. We have more things coming up very soon. And actually, tonight we'll be telling other students and things like that, because all the students were really like happy and excited to see me, come in there and support my comrade Jelani. Like, when I first came in class with my head wrap on, everybody was, throwing up a fist and, we're really proud of me and asking, are you doing this because they told, Jelani to take off her head wrap yesterday? Is this why you're doing that? And I was like, yeah. And so then they were like, well, can I come in my head wrap? And I was like, girl, yeah. And so that made us think that, we're going to start something this Wednesday at school called Wear Your Wrap Wednesday, or what is it? Something like that. So every Wednesday, since y'all want to tell us that, we can't wear our culture, we can't do that, all the boys are going to come to school in dashikis, we're going to come to school in dashikis, head wraps, earrings, swinging, gold teeth, whatever, And so we're planning that, and we encourage people, not even just on campus, even if you don't go to Gibbs, you can still do this. You're African, you can wear your culture, and because this is the same dress code policy all around Pinellas County. And we're not just doing this aimlessly, though. We're not just saying, wear your head wrap and dashiki, girl, and look good. We're doing this with aims, goals, and demands. And we're demanding that policy gets changed, because, you can't tell us how to wear our culture. We're also demanding Black community control of schools and Black community control of the police. Because, the reason Jelani took off her head wrap in the first place, because if it was just a woman coming and saying, take off your head wrap, she might have, argued with her, went back and forth with her, but the head wrap when it came off. But the reason she took it off was because she had this officer right next to her threatening her with, her weapons and her, she was intimidating her. So if we had Black community control of the police and Black community control of schools, this wouldn't happen, because we have power on our campus and power of our own people. So, and that's what we're always fighting for, power, 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 power. So, so that's what we're going to be fighting for. And I encourage everybody to, wear your wraps, wear your dashikis this Wednesday, and, just really support us and be a part of it, because, we understand if you touch one, who are y'all?
Touch one, touch one, touch one. Uhuru. Just want to applaud you. And she went to that school with her head wrap. Nobody needs to tell her nothing. She was ready. She was ready to defend her comrade, to defend African women, to defend African culture. Now, the next speaker that we're going to have up today was not going to be a speaker, was just going to make an announcement. But because of the videos that were shown, she was moving around, tapping her foot, getting a little irritated. So, cutting her eyes. So I think she has a lot to say now. You got a lot to say, comrade? She got a little bit to say now. So let's welcome another fierce African woman warrior, Akile Anaye Uhuru. Don't go off too much now.
Uhuru, I want to thank Gazi for that introduction. And I also want to say, when it happened, Gazi and I were at the office, and he texted me, let me know what was going on. So I texted Leah real quick. I was like, we got some problem on campus. And I was telling her about what happened to Jelani. She was like, I already left, but I'll turn around if I need to, if there's going to be any kind of problems. Because, we roll up on that school real quick. But that's cadre, for real. So, well, first, just like a little analysis of the video. I mean, we first just have to contextualize what we saw, because that all came from like white colonial media, and how they had no remorse, even with the little girl crying about her dreads or anything like that. They even titled the video "A Dreadful Decision." So they even tied it to like negativity. And you had this psychiatrist to say that, her once again blaming African parents. Anytime we're attacked, blame the African parents, that the father should have known the dress code. That way they can align it in some way, shape, or form. And then you have all these sellout coons on a school board telling African, being the faces to tell African people that you cannot be who you are. And we understand in this struggle for power, in the struggle in this colonial system, that our identity means so much to us. And being a people who were stripped away from our identity, even being able to just an ounce of representing who we are, discovering who we are, that is so extremely powerful for us. And to be united as a nation, having to realize and recognize that we are African people, where we come from, this is who we are. And so when that's taken away from us, it is such a demoralizing aspect. Our names that have been taken away from us. Our languages have been taken away from us amongst our lives and our resources and everything like that. And so when they take that away from us, we can't let it take that away from us. And the dress code, especially in Pinellas County, is already made up to criminalize African students. Just look through the dress code and they're talking about some being clean and, kempt or whatever the words are. You can't like sag your pants. You can't have gold. You can't have none of this. You can't have T-shirts with a logo the bigger of a size of a quarter and all kinds of stuff like that. We wear prints all the time. We love our dashikis. And so this whole dress code policy is an attack on African students. It's a way to criminalize African students. And the way to keep these students in check is to have the police officers on that campus to make sure we can't embrace who we are. Whoa. And I dare somebody to cut my baby hair. Oh my God. And was that teacher white who cut that student's hair? That was a Oh, I mean, jealous of the hair that she can't have. Jealous of the thickness, everything. She can't have it. It don't swing like our swing. But we all have to be a part of this. And even when we're not on campus, when we're on our damn jobs, when it's Wear Your Rap Wednesday, wear your damn rap to work. Wear your damn dashiki to work. And show support for these African students on this campus. Parents, show support for your African students on this campus going against this huge entity right now who are standing up to this education system saying, we ain't taking that. You can't take no more. And I just, with the struggle and the comrades and just showing the power that African people have, that this is practicing Black power. When we organize students on that campus, Gibbs campus and other campuses, to say, you can't touch us. You touch one, you touch all. You can't do this to us anymore. We're not taking this. 600 years of this shit, and we ain't taking it no more. My bad. And so we plan to really move forward with this, and we have a press conference here on Tuesday, and we're going to Gibbs on Thursday at 6:30 p.m. and Wednesday at 6:30 p.m. We storing up in there because they have, a parent-teacher conference, and we're gonna let them know. We're gonna let them know. All us parents, we're gonna come in there, we're gonna let them know. Head wraps, dashikis on, everything. This is a revolution. This is a cultural revolution. Recognizing who you are is the first step to be able to fight for who you are. So that's what this is, Uhuru. And so I want to call on everybody to support this campaign, this Wear Your Rap Wednesday, coming to this press conference on Tuesday, and to Gibbs on Wednesday. Let's flood the auditorium. Let's make sure all of us are in there. All of us get to say something. All of us get to protest this disgusting, this hateful, this nasty dress code policy that criminalizes African students. Let's demand Black community control of the police, Black community control of schools. Uhuru. So can I get Liu or Ghazi up here to pass this basket around, because we're trying to raise $150 tonight to make this press conference happen, to make sure that we can forward this campaign in the best way possible. But we need the support of the community to make this happen. And I know we got it. I hear the vibrant, the cheers in this room right now who really want to make this happen, who don't want to see their children have to go through this anymore. We already dying. They already killing us. They can't do this to us anymore. And this is how we're going to practice power. So I need everybody to give what you can. Also, you can donate online at InPDUM.org. You can click that big red donate button. We don't forget y'all online viewers. But go ahead. We're trying to raise $150 tonight, and I think we can make that happen. Uhuru.
Another round of applause for Akile and Naye. Hooroo! Gibbs messed with the wrong one. They messed with the right one, actually. Because now we coming for that, you know what? We got children. That's okay. Hood. You ready, Leah? You can play it. So while people are still donating online and we're counting everything up, we're just gonna play a little music real quick. Hit that beat day soon.
Now from Straight Talk Wireless, the Samsung
Oh,
Galaxy
this sounds like a
S5.
commercial
this
now.
Android smartphone features blazing
The white man done invaded.
a huge HD touchscreen and a high resolution.
Also, I just want to make a comment while we're waiting for the music to turn up, is that we do have an extra camera in the building. But MTV's filming a documentary, so they're just, filming the Sunday rally right now. And if you haven't, somebody will come up to you with like a release form if you are okay with you being on camera. But if you're not, just don't sign the release form and you won't be on camera. As simple as that. Everybody unite.
This is the ballad of the black gold. They call it Texas tea. That music but it's bigger than a cowboy with a lasso. It's deeper than a black hole. Create monopolies, except they collect your fee when your passcode. Crisis International, the government de facto. We got no control in this fiasco. Darker than the back roads, bubble hotter than Tabasco. More than what you bargain for asphalt. You never see happy, hungry people that ain't rational. They blasting through the gates and they attack you at the Capitol. Run up in your palace, find a head to stay to crack a few. Get a taste of power, then they become fascists to the fiscal. Conservatives don't know what their purpose is. Spend money on the war, then they cut to goods and services. Murderers, corporate monsters is breaking records. Exoners at 40 billion a year. They breaking their record profits. Stop it. How they banking while the auto industry is tanking? Leadership is sinking. Up pollution in the water stanking. Loyalty to petroleum royalty spoil the economy. We won't get it poppin' till we oil free. If you're oil rich, then we invaded. They call it occupation, but we losing jobs across the nation. Drill, baby, drill, while they make our soldiers kill, baby, still the desert where the blood and oil spills. This is the ballad of the black gold. They call it Texas tea, but it's bigger than a cowboy with a lasso. It's deeper than a black hole. Create monopolies, except they collect your fee when your passcode. Crisis International, the government de facto. We got no control in this fiasco. Don't get in the back road.
Hooroo! Let's applaud Samila and Yebu for the little dance. They little dance. Thank you, girls. Thank you, ladies. Thank you. Uhuru. Uhuru. So far, we've only raised $51. But we know that the rest is out there. We're going to wait for online. Everyone online. Where am I looking, Timba? This camera right here. Uhuru online. Make sure to donate and share the video, share this stream with others. If you can only get 5 or none at all, a share can go a long way and somebody can donate the rest. We really want to forward this campaign. We really need these resources to forward this campaign. There's a lot of African girls there that want to participate but don't have head wraps. We want to get them some head wraps, get them to love themselves and love their culture and to get on these campuses and kick the of the ruling class. Uhuru. All right. Y'all know this is an attack on African people, right? And African children, right? I said, do you know that this is an attack on African That's a health concern. I need some rules that makes Becky cut her hair licensed to these schools. But thank the Lord for this because I can catch that shit. What kind of savage does that to a child? You don't have no rights, not even to your hair. Children are very smart. Because if you didn't know, white people are the ones that started calling locks dread for being dreadful. What legal system to say they didn't like my dreads? Lynch better people to serve capitalism that benefits white power. So we offer our to better America, your America, and you tell bring them up in front of the kids and cut off their hair. Do you get those rules? Are those rules that y'all, did they ask any of the parents in this room, do they unite with these rules that they're forcing? They will always see you as lesser. To fight for power, because the only reason they can tell you what to wear, how to wear, and what to do with your hair